Good morning. My camera's not centered. That's annoying. Oh well. Good morning. My name is Samantha Mirabal. I'm with Melco's application team and doing our Design Shop Talk today. Let's see what questions you might have and try to get them answered. Had a handful of questions sent in ahead of time. I'll start with those. If you have questions while we're live, please type them in the chat. Don't send them privately. I don't tend to see those. I have a second monitor set up with the different questions so I can keep track of what comes in as they do. So just let me know and we'll see what we can do. Good morning. Thanks for joining today. All right, so let's go ahead and get going. I updated all my artwork, so it shows 12. So that's fun. All right, so this person, when they worked on the chart, they were able to see the colors of the thread. And when they applied it to the machine, it would actually show the threads you have selected and not just the colors that was used in DesignShop. So that's actually an OS thing, right? So when you're in the OS, your operating system, it can be Bravo. Can it be Bravo? I know it can be Melco OS. So if it's in MOS or something like that, you would color this thread tree, right? And you do that by right-clicking on it, selecting whatever color you have so that it then becomes colored, similar to what you have down here. Now, when you apply the design, if it's showing up with the original colors designs rather than whatever you programmed it to be, then that's just a setting. Oh, I pulled the wrong one over. All right, that's okay. I have it back here. Sorry. All right, let me get out of the presentation and go find my silly screenshot because I had it there. Did I just not bring it up or did I put it in the wrong order? There it is. I just put it in the wrong spot. There we go. All right, let me go back to it. There we go. All right, so you would color your thread tree and then right here, you go Tools, Settings, and on the Setting tab, so the second one right here, you would click here, Use Color from Designs. That's usually checked. Uncheck that box. That way when you apply the color, what you will see showing up on your screen is whatever threads you have in your thread tree. That's what will show up, okay? So that's all there is to it. It's not a design shop thing per se. It's just OS. Now, another neat feature I did want to point out, which is new to DesignShop 12. In DesignShop, you can actually come over and save all your different settings by color. So let's say, so this is OS, this is DesignShop. So that's for a reason. So if you go into DesignShop, I'll show you where this is. You can go say for this design, run color 1 with, one set of settings. Then color 2 is going to be metallic, so you need a different set of settings. So you can program that all here in DesignShop and then click on save and save it as a default within that file. Now when you load the file to the OS, right here you've got this load settings button. You can load all of that in here so that you can set up the settings in DesignShop and have it automatically load. So that is, just to show you where that is, it's Tools, Melco OS Settings, right here for whatever design you go through and set up whatever settings you want. And when you click on save, tell it new, and now it'll save it for there. When you load it to DesignShop or into OS, you can use it. Someone says they have DesignShop lettering and I want to learn how to do Applique Patches. Okay, so DesignShop lettering doesn't have applique or doesn't have digitizing features. It's just lettering. So what you would need to do is get an applique patch design from somewhere, whether it's you have one, you bought it from somewhere or whatnot, because basically you need something that will give you the different steps to form a patch, right? So copy, paste. I'm going to copy and paste that one, make it a tackle stitch, and make it wider. And then I'm going to copy and paste, make this a satin, and then make that 40. Okay, so basically you would need a file set up something like this, where it's got a placement stitch, a tack down, your tackle stitch to hold it down, and then a satin stitch around it. Now from there, when you open that, now within lettering, you can come over here and type whatever you want. So if you just doing number patches or something, you can create your text or import different designs to put on your patch, you would just need to put it in the right spot. So I personally would put it there as the fourth step. So basically you would sew all of this, sew your design, and then sew the satin stitch last. Okay, because lettering is what's going to give you just the ability to do all the different types of lettering. So you can combine different designs together, add lettering to it, but it's not a digitizer where you can create the patch shape itself. Let's see, can you show the block letter with 3 borders in DS12? And okay, so let's see, not the 2, yeah, okay, so basic block. I assume Katiana basic block would be fine. Okay, so I've got block lettering. I can click on the border. I can tell it how I want the borders to be. I can tell it how many borders, what the offset might be between the borders. Additional offset, let's say I want subsequent offsets to be 30. Okay, so I can create like that. So the first offset is how far away from the original text. The additional offset is between the separate borders, what it will be. You can play with the setting over here on if you want it strict, relax, a single border, if you want it to include holes, convex, you know, there's different things you can do. So whether you want it to add holes in there, I wouldn't, but you know, you can play with it. And then if you add additional borders, this first offset, like I said, is the first one away from your lettering, and then all the additionals are between the 2 separate things. So say you want 100 and then 50, I don't know, whatever you'd like. Katiana, did that? Kayatana? Oh, I guess I've been pronouncing your name wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm really awful at names, and I apologize. I have to hear them. Stacked, touching the letter like a 3-link. Oh, okay. Single, oh, like a single letter with 3 borders. Okay, let's do that one. So, all right, I got a single letter. I'm gonna click here. 2, 3, offset. We want it pretty low. Probably want the additional offset to be pretty low as well. All right, and then I can give these all different colors, right? So I assume this is what you're going for, where you've got blue, white, red, something like that. All right, white is not showing. Let's do gray. So you have different borders along there. So yeah, you can do it. You can play with it however you'd like, but yeah, the difference, the key to it is going to be what are the offsets you're looking for, right? So, and the smaller it is, you can also look at it that here, each of these borders is 20 points. I had the offset set to 10, which means they're going to overlap slightly. So that's fun. Okay, let's see. Jane asked, do I understand right that you can export a design from 12 in PDF form to use it as a print file? If so, how? Yes, it's not a PDF though, it's a PNG. So I can take, let's say, I want a pretty file. I don't want a letter. All right, let me go open something else. C drive. I don't know. Holiday? St. Patty's. Are there cute ones in here? I don't know. He's funny. All right, I'm going to open that Irish mouse. All right, so let's say we want that to be a print file. Okay, so you would come over, File, Save As, tell it to be a PNG, and then you can set what DPI you want. Whether it's going to be, if you want a 300 DPI, 100, it depends on what printer it is, you know, what your settings would need to be. And I want to put this with the stuff I'm going over today. How do I find it? Sorry. I guess I'm just going to save it in... Sorry, I don't want to just save stuff randomly on my computer. It'll annoy me later. So let me go grab the path for my Dropbox where I have all this. Sorry, give me one moment. This is what happens when I get too many things on my computer. All right, so copy. File, save as. change this to a PNG, and I want to put it on, oh, come on, select the path already, copy, paste. There we go. All right, there. So now if I go to that, wherever I just saved it, now I have a Irish mouse PNG that can be used to print. This shows up on a black border on my screen, but you can see it's a transparent background. So the entire background is empty, so you can save that off and for a print file. So yeah, you absolutely can. And then you just put that in whatever print format, you know, whatever your particular software requires for whatever device you're trying to print on. You can even take that and use it for mock-ups. So like open a picture of a shirt and just put the PNG on there. It has no background on it, so it will save it for you. You know, it'll put it on so you can move it around until it looks right to you. So that's kind of fun. Okay, so did I cover the ones? Yeah, that have been asked so far. Cool. All right, let's see what other questions we had sent in. Irish Mousey. All right, so we talked about, I'm just going backwards to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yep, we did that. I showed you this, which is new to DesignShop 12. Is it easy to digitize or is it hard to do? That's kind of a loaded question, right? So I find it very easy, but you know, I always find it's really easy to show someone how to click the buttons, right? So I can show you how to draw a line, how to draw a circle, how to draw a rectangle, how to do fills, how to add borders. All of, you know, how to click the buttons is easy, right? It's really straightforward, and it's just a matter of, you know, knowing what the buttons mean and using them. Okay, so that's the easy part. The hard part is more the art, if you will, and the puzzle aspect of digitizing. When you are sewing things, right, we sew from the back front, so the background to the front. So if you're going to do like a sky with a tree on it, you wouldn't sew the tree and then the sky. You would want the sky first and then the tree, so you can have some overlap. And then there's the aspect of understanding embroidery to know what type of underlay you need, what type of, you know, and how you digitize it so it sews well as when you go to the machine, all right, what stabilizers you use and all that. So that's just kind of knowledge you learn as you do it. Now, there's a lot of neat tools built into the software that make it easy for you. So if you don't know all that, you can still be set up for success, right? So, for instance, let's say for whatever reason, I want my name over a circle, partially over a circle, right? Let's just pretend this is some silly logo. Okay, let's pretend that's my logo of the day. I don't know. All right, so if I go into the properties here, there are things that are already built in to make life easy, right? So if you don't know what type of underlay you need, then you can use auto underlay. It works really well, okay? Same with the lettering. If you don't know underlay, you use that. Tie-in and tie-offs are already set to be on. And again, these are all just set up so that you have a good basis as a starting point to be set up for success, right? So you can click through the buttons and, you know, maybe you're not optimizing how to get from point A to point B and you have a few more trims than necessary, but it will still sew nicely. Why is Melco Service calling me? So there, you know, that would all work out well and sew out nicely for you. Okay. All right. So is it easy? I think it's easy. It's really just a matter of, you know, tracing things, and tracing for me is quite easy. Okay. Is there a way to change a node characteristic, straight to curved or curved to straight? Absolutely. So this works in both 11 and 12. So here, that's currently a straight point, right? If I add a point, that's a triangle. If I want it to be a curved node, I would hold Control Shift and click on the point, Shift and click. Notice it's changing from a curve to a straight. Now, just because I changed this to a straight, it didn't automatically get rid of the curved line. So you can do that by Control and right click. So Control and right click on the line will get rid of those handles and turn it into a curved. So let's say now I hold Shift click, now that's curved. There we go. Okay. Or if I want to make it straight lines again, I can right click while holding my control key, and these all turn into straight lines. Another quick trick, and again this is 11 and 12, if I add a point and hold my control key and drag, it'll automatically make that a nice arch. Shift, click on the point, that's what changes it from one node to another. Now there is another way to do it. If I double click on the point, if you don't know the shift trick, double click on it and you can tell it to be straight or curved. Okay. All right, let's see. When making patches, how can I make the satin border thicker? I use pull comp, it doesn't go how I want. Okay, well, pull comp is not the way you'd make borders thicker, right? So pull comp is compensating for the fact that things are shrinking, right? That you have some amount of shrinkage when things sew. But if I really want, so I drew a circle. So if you haven't seen, oh, let me, rather than a circle, let's do this one so I can show you something new. So if I use this complex fill, hold this button down, there's this rounded rectangle. So I can left click, and now drag and have a nice rounded rectangle. If I want to add a border to this thing, I select the shape, I hold my shift key down and click on my satin. So that satin is really narrow, right? And what you're asking is, how do I make it wider? Well, right here is width. So if I double click on that or just go straight to my bar up here, I can go to the single line properties and make it wider. So 40, 45, I mean, whatever is your happy number, right? And that's a personal preference. I tend to like things 40 or better, 40 or larger. That's what makes me happy, but I know some people like 30. It's 100% a personal preference, and it's not a wrong answer, right? So whatever you like is the right answer. Okay. So that's, you can add pull offset, but what this is doing is it's compensating for the fact that your columns narrow up, right? So you don't really want to use that to make it wider because it's going to end up distorting things around here. You'd rather make the entire shape wider so it can recalculate how the stitches are going to go. Okay. All right, let's see, what else do we have? We did that. We did that. Okay. Why are my OFM files missing the design preview? They look like this. It's a Windows setting, and I honestly don't remember how to change it. What I would suggest doing is calling Melco Tech Support, and they can get that all straightened up for you. Me and Windows are not friends, so I always call tech support even when I'm dealing with the window type settings. Why don't my old files give me an option to print only the design? It should. So it should be just a matter of when you come over here, you do File, Print, and then you just select the different options in the print screen, right? If you want the origin to show up, you have to have the origin on your screen here. Okay, so I would have to have this origin turned on for the origin to appear in my print screen. It's on my other monitor. Give me a sec. Gotta drag it over. And of course, I put it on some third monitor that is MIA. That's nice. Okay, anyway, it's... sorry, I put it on a monitor I don't have currently hooked up. So now it's off screen and I don't remember how to get it back. File, print. Let's try it again. There we go. All right, so over here, if you want to just print the design, you can turn the stuff, you know, you can set all the different options over here. If you want the origin to print, you have to have it on the screen and then you can turn it on. Same with the grid. If you want that on, you turn it on over here. Okay, so it's just a matter of playing with the settings here. See, now it's got the origin on there. So it's really just changing the settings on there for when it goes to print. We did get you a link to the design preview in Windows Explorer, so there's a link on, I assume it's going to show you how to fix it. You saw someone mention lettering compensation. Is that different than pull comp? So, no, well, kind of. Let's see. Pull comp. So if you go in here, under compensation, you've got lettering comp. So this is looking at it from all the different settings. So you can go and specifically set how much compensation you want based on the size of your letters and the size of the columns built in the letters. So you can do it that way. It works well. So if you turn that on, this is what it's doing, and you can adjust it accordingly. You can change those if you don't like it, or if you want, you can just use straight offset, and it will do a straight offset. So it's, again, a personal preference. This is more dynamic than just doing a straight. Okay. Let's see. What else do we have? All right, we got you a link on that one, and we talked about that one. All right, is it possible we set the origin line in front of the design when printing? Yeah, so that's new to DS12, right? So over here, where is that? If I right click on that, I can tell this here to display elements over top of the design, and now it'll print over it. So how did I get there? I right click on the grid. So this is where you can control everything about the grid of how you want it to look like. So you can turn on the grid, display it above or below the elements. If you want to do just horizontal lines of the grid, just vertical, change the colors, make it into dots. You know, you can do all kinds of stuff. I don't like the dots, but some people like dots, right? So, you know, they've got all of that. Same with the grid itself. You can change how it shows up, and right there is display above elements. So those are all kind of new things you can do within 12. All right, Prit, does that help? All right, let's see what else. What is better in 12? What's different? So this is a whole bunch of 12 stuff. So I'll go show this in a sec. I just want to talk through the easy ones. Have you included any client management plugins? I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. I assume you're talking about where the clients can go and do their own designs. That would be a Fusion thing, and that is something that is available to everyone. So you can call Milko and, you know, ask them to tell you more about Fusion. So that is always an option there. Is Scott going to be doing, and Nate going to be doing tutorials on 12? Yeah, it's already done. If you go to the manual, so how did I get there? So that's Melco-service, and then click on DesignShop 12. There's the manual. All right, so if you open that guy up, and then you scroll down, it's big. One moment. All right, so you'll see there's these little videos embedded. All of those embedded videos are done in 12. So yes, there's videos throughout the manual that you can look that are all done in 12. That'll kind of show you how all the features work. Okay. All right, and we got you a link to this so you don't have to remember what website I clicked on. Again, I'll come back to that one. In order to upgrade from 11 to 12, do you need to download the upgrade with 11 still on the computer? No. So it's a new install. You install it. Yeah, you just download it and install it. So you can even go to the cloud download and download it there. And that's all there is to it. How do you get your machine software updated? It depends if it's already set where the check for updates works. If it doesn't, you can always call tech support, and they can get you a link to the current versions. I know on the Zendesk, there's a list of what the current versions are for the OSs, and well, for all the versions, right, of the software. So you can also check your specific one to see if you're up to date. You know, it's where is it? It's help about, and if it's OS, it'll say help about Melco OS. Here it says that, but it'll give you the version right here, and you can check that against the list online and see what version you're at and if you have the latest. And if not, give tech support a call and they'll help you update. Yeah, we got you a link to the software versions there. If you upgrade to the 12, do you have to buy that software as well? Are you talking about DesignShop or OS? And so that one I don't know. If you're going from DesignShop, like from 11 to 12, it's, if you bought your machine, I think from November on, you have a free upgrade to 12. Before that, there's different upgrade paths that you can check out. So you can contact your account manager and see what the different upgrade paths are available for you. But what's kind of fun about it is it stays installed. 11 will be on your computer, 12 will be on your computer. If you upgraded it, then 11, while you can still run it, the license is no longer able to be sold. Like if you wanted to sell it later because you upgraded from that one to 12, so the only one that's being sold, rather than if you kept 11 and bought an entire new seat of 12, then both of those are assets for you. All right, so new things in 12. I did go over a lot of the features last week. I'm going to go over, just because there's a lot of questions, I'll try to go over them again of things, that I've found and I like a lot with it. One, there's a ton of new fonts, and there's a lot of new features of things you can do with fonts, and they're a lot of fun, right? So let's look at the font type stuff, right? So I've got lettering. There's the new fonts on there, but in the properties, you also have different line types. So you have a text box feature, which lets you define the size of a box. So let's say you're doing patches, a standard size patch, and you're just changing text or putting names in it. You don't want to change the name, so now it's bigger than your patch, so then you got to modify it. You can use that text box feature, and no matter what you type in, it will scale it to fit within that box, right? So that's a pretty handy little thing. You also have the option for these envelopes, and then there's these presets that you can apply to the different things, which again are fun. They're just pre-set up for you, so you don't have to sit there and play with it. Now you can of course create your own envelopes, right? So I can create my own shapes by modifying these lines. So you can always do that, but they do have a bunch of presets under right here that you can start with or even just use directly. So those all work really well. There's also the option to do lettering as applique. So where's Boffo? B-O-F-F. Boffo. Let's do that one. And let's apply it. Change that to applique. And this is really small at the moment, so it's not going to look too great, but we'll make it bigger. See? And so I can do a really easy and fast applique. And then if I go into the properties here, I can go in and edit those applique properties. So you'll notice it's 80-20 currently set on what the split is on the fabric or off the fabric, maybe like 60-40 something else, or 50-50. You can modify all that. You can change the underlay on the top stitching. So let's say you want something else or whatever you want, you can change it. You want to change the density. So it's all completely editable up here. So not only can you do the properties of the lettering, the kerning, the names, tell it to be an applique, but you can also go specifically to each layer of the applique and use that. You can also save off the applique file. So file, say, oops, wrong button. File. Yeah, so I haven't saved it, but you can go save the applique outlines off as well. So yeah, so you can do fonts like that. Now, a really neat feature now is you can work with the expanded fonts. Oh, undo. Well, all right. Yes, you can add a border to the applique. All right, so there's a... All right, so let's change that to Boffo, because I like that one. Make it bigger. I'm going to go into its properties and tell it to be an applique. Apply. All right, so I got an applique. Then I can come over here, create border, and depending on how you want your border to be, you can play with it, mess with all of your settings, and you can do a bunch of borders or fewer borders, whatever it is you're looking to do, and preview those. Add a border, single one, sure, or double borders. Let's say you want that. Okay, rather than a single border. Okay, so yes, you can have borders around them. Just play with the settings to see what, play with them. They're fun. What else was I about to show? All right, so lettering. So I talked about the text box, the envelope, applique. Oh, I didn't show the gradients on those things. So down here under this guy, there are now under custom designs, there's this thing here, gradient fonts. So these are just 2 fonts that are already set up to be pretty good little gradients, and you can drag and drop them on there. Oh, I remember what I was going to show. I was going to show this. So, you know, ooh, I don't want that. All right, go away. No. All right, so you know how people like to buy fonts online, right? So they go and buy them, and when you download them, they're embroidery fonts. You get 190 something files, right? So you can take these. I don't remember what letter I left off on, so I'm going to do a few of them. So I can select these from the files, drag and drop them over here, and have them all open. Okay. Once they open, I can select the letter, right click, save letter, tell it what it's going to be. So this is the Scarlet Large, is the one I opened, which is a 2-inch height. And this is a lowercase k. So I'm going to type in a lowercase k and say okay. This is a capital K, so right click, save letter, capital Shift K. So I can come over here and really pretty quickly save all these. Lowercase j. Oh, sorry, I've already done that letter. Like I said, I couldn't remember where I stopped. I guessed wrong. That one's already done. Okay, so you can do all that. So as you're doing them, the easiest way I've found is, so if I close all, go over here, select the next few I want to do, drag them over, open them up, and now I can just save letter, capital N, and notice these tabs. Those are new to DesignShop 12. They're great, and I'll show you another trick with the tabs in a minute. That's just a nice productivity improvement, right? Just things to help things go faster. And who doesn't like to work faster? No, I do. L, lowercase, and large L. All right, I'm going to stop with this. So save letter, capital L. So what did this all do, right? So I can, again, close this, close all windows, and if I were going to continue, I would. But, oops, now I can go into my lettering, Scarlet, C-A-R, Scarlet Large. It does a warning that these are wireframe, so these are expanded edits. So, okay, that's cool. So now I can come over here and A, J, J, K, K. So those are different letters I've done, right? Okay, so one thing to note, notice the J is high. So that's just a matter of holding my control key and dragging it down until you want it. It's where you want, and then I right click, save letter, and now that J is forever fixed. So I just turned that font into something that's typable by saving the letters over. So you can take any of these expanded. When you go to modify them, if you want to add pull compensation to it or pull offset, do it under the scale tab. So select the lettering that you typed, go to scale, and this, because it's an expanded alphabet, you want to modify it as if it were expanded. Okay. All right. So that's a really powerful and fun new thing. Can group names now use multiple fields? For example, a name and job title. I think you just do it as 2 separate letterings. Honestly, I don't know. Let's go see. Name. Oh, I don't want it. Oh, hey, look at that. All the letters I've done in that particular font. Huh. All right, I'm going to change that though. Let's do that one. All right. So go into the properties. Group names, enable. Yeah, so it's a single line of text. So if you want, you would have to do different lines of text to apply to the different group names. So no, it's not set up for multiple fields currently. Let's see, what else? Back to this. Oh, I didn't show you that. Keep on missing it. All right, if you go into the properties of this again, and I have multiple name, 2 lines, text, name, text, apply. All right, so the spacing between these lines, you now have multiple ways to do it. You can do absolute, where you tell it how far apart you want the lines to be, or you can tell it to be percentage. and it will scale accordingly based on the percent of the size of the lettering. So again, that's pretty fun. Hi, Julie. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming today. All right, so that's again another new little thing. With these tabs, so this is kind of fun. Let's say you are working on something. So if I create new ones and I drag them off, all right. So let's say I digitize something over here and I want to paste it on multiple files. I can copy, paste, done, and dusted. So it's a lot quicker than going Windows, change to the next window, or even clicking on the different tabs. You can just open them up. Now when you want to recombine them, just drag them over. See that? On the property box, there's now these new space saving things where you can collapse it down to just its bar. So if you have a small monitor, that's particularly helpful. There's also this pin. I like them pinned, but you do not have to pin them. You can let them float so that they hide. So again, if you want a larger workspace, you can have it hidden and then just float over it when you want to work with it. I really like it pinned, so that's just, but that is a me thing. I swear when this one kept on disappearing, I called Scott and before I realized what the pins were, I was like, you got to help me stop it. I don't like it. But you know, that's because I work on a huge screen. So yeah, the multiple tabs are crazy helpful, and particularly being able to do things on two. So you can have two separate files set up and you can copy and paste, digitize on that one, digitize on this one, and they're completely independent, so you can do what you want. Okay, and I forgot to show you that last week too, so that's kind of cool. I showed you the rounded corners earlier. Screen guidelines I didn't show you, so the guidelines are fun. Over here you can add guidelines. So these are really helpful for, let's say you don't like all that busyness with the grid. You just want a grid line there, and there for whatever reason. And these are movable. You can lock to them, you can snap to them. So if I want to delete it, I can delete it. I can say snap to the guide. So you can move them all around, add as many as you want. So it's helpful when you're trying to line things up, right? So that you have a grid of what you're aiming for. The PNG, I showed that earlier, borders and shadow. I didn't show you shadow, but I showed you borders. And then the EXP Plus, there was a question that came in late that was, you know, what is the difference between EXP and EXP Plus? And EXP Plus, some machines now have the ability to load INF files that hold the color data. So an EXP file is just one that creates, so if I came over here, so this file now has multiple colors, right? So if I went and did a file save as and change this to an EXP, where's EXP? Right here, save colors to INF file. That just, it saves the colors out for you. So now that you can use those. Yeah. Snap to grid, there's a question if your machine uses those INF. So INF, if I want to snap to a grid, notice my shape, snap to that grid, snap to that point, and snap to that point. So you can tell it what grids to snap to, and it will automatically line that shape up. When it clicks, it'll snap to the grid. Oh, does DesignShop 12 allow printing on paper larger than A4? I know they've changed some of the printing stuff with the paper sizes. I don't remember. I'll have to get back to you on that, Prit. I know they made changes specifically on page sizes, but I don't know if that lets you go off the 8.5 by 11 to tabloid or something like that. So I'll have to get back to you because I don't remember. I don't print often, so. All right, what else do we have? Yeah, so that's some of the new stuff. There's a whole lot of improvements and other things, so it's really playing with it and getting familiar with it, seeing what new features there are, and working with them. There's a lot of capabilities that you have. All right, everyone. Yeah, Jane, those tabs are fantastic. All right, any other questions before I call it a day? When doing a fill, what overlap should be set between? I assume you mean borders and things like that. I like 7 to 10 point overlaps minimum. I'll be honest, if I'm doing a shape, let's say I have a fill. So I've got a fill and then I have a border on it. I go 50-50, but of whatever the size of the border is, that's just what I've defaulted to. You don't really need that. 10 points is usually plenty, as long as you have proper stabilization and your underlay is good. Otherwise, you're going to have more. But yeah, 7 to 10 points is usually plenty for overlap. But I tend to go 50-50 on borders, just because I don't want to have to worry about whether I hooped right. That's not a very good reason, but you know, there you have it. Let's see, what other questions? I think that was all the ones I had sent in ahead of time. Oh yeah, those are the fonts. Oh, these decoratives are great. I didn't show you those. Like I said, there's a ton of new stuff. So these decoratives are amazing. I've been using them a lot of creating neat. So, you know, a bean stitch is thick, but it's still kind of thin and delicate looking. So sometimes you don't want a satin stitch. It's too thick. A bean stitch is too thin. What's just right? So to me, these chain stitches that's the Goldilocks moment. They're, you know, thicker than a bean stitch, thinner than a satin. So it's great. Thanks, Britt. I'm glad. Any other questions before I call it a day? And we did get you a link to the DesignShop upgrade, you know, the different things. So lots and lots of new stuff. So you can check those out. Well, anything else before I call it a day? Oh, I could talk about decoratives forever. My mind's now spinning of all the things I can show you, but we'll leave that for another day. All right, everyone. You guys have a great weekend. You got your upgrade today? Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I know you were looking for it earlier. I think I saw you online looking for them, so I'm glad to hear that. Jane, good. Have fun with it. Gina, thanks for joining. All right, y'all. I will talk to you guys next week. It's supposed to be Friday, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to do some tech work on Friday, so it might be Thursday, but I'll post online regardless to let you guys know. All right, everyone, have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.